Greetings, Beth Warriors. Greetings. Greg is here. Hope everyone's having a wonderful evening. Felt like it was a good time to get on here, close out another week, depending on when you're watching this. It's always something good to talk about, huh? In terms of personal development, self-improvement, becoming the best version of ourselves. There's always something good to talk about, isn't there? We're talking about life. When we're talking about life, I feel like there's always something good to talk about. How's everybody doing this evening? How are you doing? Welcome. We're going to talk. Good evening, Adam. It's good to be on here again. I figure we're going to talk about life. Glad to hear you're doing amazing. It's been a good day. Felt very blessed today. Had some good exchange with people and been putting together the Breath of Life Healing Circle content. Yeah, working on that. If anybody's interested in breathing their way back to healing, restoration, we call that, right? A lot of people want a quick fix. I don't know if I believe in the quick fixes. I know a lot of people that are hurting right now, looking for solutions. And I know that for me to get to where I'm at now, it took hurting. It took definitely hurting, and it took looking far and wide for many solutions, and I've tried them all. Tried it all. There's probably very few things that you could try and throw at me and say, you need to try this. This is what's going to do it. This is what's going to heal your emotional trauma. This is what's going to help you to trust yourself, help you to be disconnected from all the distractions in this world. How many of you get so caught up on world issues? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Well, that's a good question. I remember when I hit rock bottom 13 years ago, and I had to ask myself, I had to look in the mirror and I asked myself, who am I? Has anybody ever done that? Yeah, I know what they're asking. I'm just being a little sarcastic on Sunday night. Um, but that's an interesting question. I can tell you what I do. The thing I do the most is life, and then it's sort of like, what does that mean? And then I know I'm also somebody that like has a hard time putting labels all over myself, right? Because I do know that I'm put on this planet to be a healer, right? To help people heal. Heal what? Sexual, emotional, childhood trauma. And I'm not a religious guy, but I'm very spiritual, very connected with the Great Spirit, all creation, all living things. I hit rock bottom 13 years ago. That's when I got sober. And when I hit rock bottom, it wasn't very long after that I went through a divorce, right? I was married for 21 years. Hello from Ohio. Princess of God. A princess of God. And I remember like coming off of, off of a 21-year marriage. I remember asking myself, who am I? Who am I? Because when you're in a relationship for 21 years like that, if anybody can relate to this, and I know there are some of you, you sort of lose your identity. Like people still know you as you, but you're so much of your identity is wrapped up right? In the relationship. Like I'm so and so's husband or I'm so and so's wife. Like you're seen as something in context of that relationship. I remember I had a conversation with my step grandmother the other day, and she was in a government employee for 25 years. She's 73 years old, and we got into a bit of a, I don't know, it was a little confrontational. She got pretty much in my face. And but she got confrontational because, I don't play the politics no more. And I'm somebody that I've run for politics. I ran for city council multiple times. Um, I did not win, but I definitely was a threat to the system. I speak a lot of truth to power. That's interesting, right? Not knowing what to buy for yourself. That sounds like an opportunity to maybe shift, switch some things up. But I remember she got so wound up because her identity was in her time as a government employee. And yet this was someone that 25 years in government, 73 years. So basically you can just say 75 if we round up. So you can say 25 years, no government, 25 years government, another 25 years, no government. And yet it's like, she was still wrapped up in her identity when it's like, when I encounter her, I don't think, oh, look, there's a government worker, right? There's one of those government workers. But yet that was her identity, was that she was identifying as a government employee and needing to defend and go to battle to defend the virtues of government. And yet so many people out there right now are suffering. So many people are out there suffering. What type of suffering, you might ask? Mental and emotional suffering. More so than physical. More so than physical. Thanks, Donna. I appreciate you getting it. But you think about it, mental and emotional suffering far, far outweighs physical suffering. The greatest example I have for what physical suffering looks like is if you've ever been to a disaster zone where hurricane, tornado, fire, flood totally destroys people's lives. To me, that's some physical suffering because literally, people's entire lives have been uprooted, totally destroyed, right? There's physical suffering right there. But most people suffer mental and emotional suffering. Mental and emotional, right? And greater is probably the mental. We get so, which is crazy because the mental then triggers what? The emotional response. What we think is what we feel. And we're so attached. We are so attached to so many things outside of ourselves. And that to me is what keeps us held back. Because again, what is your identity in? Is your identity in a career you had, a relationship you had? Is it in who you used to be in high school or college? Is your identity wrapped in your mistakes, your flaws, the things you've done wrong? Is that who you're defining yourself as? The failure? The person that has screwed up time and time and time again, and you've beaten yourself up so bad because of your past mistakes? Is that where your identity is? Is your identity in a religion? Is the religion the identity? Is the identity in even a branch of the religion? maybe like a certain brand, right? There's a brand, right? I remember when I was like heavy into Christianity, right? I was somebody that I'd go around and visit all the churches in my town, and I loved meeting people, because we're all neighbors, really, if we're all from the same town. But yet it was very competitive. It was very like protectionism, and like it was like almost like a betrayal that you weren't like completely aligned and committed to one brand over the other, right? One house of worship versus the other house, and it's like, wait, man, we're neighbors, we live right up the street from each other, we can't go to each other's things without breaking the allegiance of that. And we can get really caught up in these boxes. A lot of people, your identity's in something that you actually are not. It's your team. Your team is who you are, and it's like, it's not your team. You don't get a paycheck just because you invest a lot of your valuable time. That does not make it a part of you. There's not an association there, other than the fact that you give up your precious resource to act as what? Christ has a great identity, right? He says the kingdom of God is within. But most people will fail to do greater things than Christ, because their identity is in Christ, not in the kingdom of God being within you, that you are empowered to do greater things. You're going to just sit there in the pews, right? And put your identity in that versus being it, being the Christ, being the giver of life. And that's hard to hear, especially if you're religious, especially if you're just caught up. I was talking to a religious friend of mine tonight. He's going through an incredible life upheaval, something that he would have never imagined happening. And yet I told him, I forewarned him. I said, man, you watch, if this ever happens to you, uh-oh. And yet he realizes so many men, right? I used to be there with all the men of God wearing the armor of God, and yet they're afraid to go out into the streets. Afraid, right? Just rather sit back, cheer on your team, right? If you could only cheer on, like going out there and like really making an impact in this very, very distressed world, the way you do, like cheering for your teams, right? Eating all the grub. Could you imagine? It's like a quad layer mustache. This thing is like fifth dimensional. This is the new earth mustache, fifth dimensional, right? And yet that's why so many people are so distressed. Because even this guy I was talking to today, he's a brother of mine. He's a guy I grew up with. He's like, I didn't get discipled right. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? That's because you're going to men for discipleship when you should just be going to God, the source. Go straight to the source. You don't need no box. You don't need another man to tell you what you need to know about your life, right? And yet, but we like to play religion because it's convenient. It makes us feel like everything's going to be okay, right? Everything's going to be okay, right? A quick fix. That's what we want, right? That's what we want. We want a quick fix. I tried it. I promise you, I tried it. I used to preach the word. I used to teach the word. I used to worship. I used to lead kids' kingdom, sing. I was zealous. And the problem about it is that underneath the surface, and nowhere in the Bible does it teach you how to heal emotional trauma that is programmed at the subconscious level. Because saying the prayer, going for the dunk, and paying the dues doesn't heal the emotional trauma. I know so many people that are super religious. They're very insecure. They're very distracted by the things of this world. They're very political. They're very sports and entertainment over the top with sports and entertainment, but they get to wear all the hats, right? They want to wear this hat on that day, this hat on this day, this hat, as opposed to being single-minded, right? All in. And it's the reason for that. The reason why it's so hard to go all in is because religion offers a quick fix. It creates it's like a relationship. When you get married, a lot of people call it, well, time to settle down. And I said that. When I was married for 21 years, right, I settled down. I'm like, man, it's all downhill from here. Just coasting now. It's all downhill. And it was true. I literally let myself go physically, right? Very spiritual, but yet still broken emotionally. Because again, the spiritual doesn't heal the emotional, doesn't heal the mental, right? You have to do it in order: mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, and the financial. Those are 5 areas of health. If you want to be the total and complete package, you want to truly stand on whatever it is that you say you believe in, you'll have all 4 of those things harmonized, in check, lockstep, no excuses, not making any excuses. But too many people, guess what? Y'all want the excuses. That's why it's called results kill excuses, because the excuses are going to kill the results. I can already hear it. I'm not perfect. And that's what happens. So even when people find the Savior, guess what? It's made too easy. Say this prayer, go for the dunk, all the bad things, the slate is wiped clear, your ticket, right? Your seat is secure in heaven, and yet the Savior's not a maid. He's not going to clean up your mess. Your place is a mess. And when I say your place, I'm talking about inside of you. It's still a fucking mess. The emotions, the shit that happened to you 0 to 10 years old that has caused programming is still a mess. Right? And that's why so many people, you just keep going back, because you're like, wait, I got to hit the reset. I can just get forgiven every single day. But yet, I'm telling you, where is the growth? Where's the spiritual growth? I know people that have been in the religious vibe for longer than I've been alive, 46 years, and they're still drinking milk. They're not even mature enough to stand and to go and do greater things, do the greatest things possible, to be healers, to be bringers of the light, to go and make a difference in this world, to make a true impact, roll up their sleeves, go make a fucking difference. But instead, I'll tell you, this is the saddest thing. This ain't judgment, but the saddest thing is the nastiest people online right now, right? The nastiest people are the people that push the religion, right? They're seriously the most aggressive people out there. And that is a reflection of themselves. It's not on me. I'm not worried about it. I know what I've been through. I know what I'm speaking. And I know that I have the results, because 13 years ago when I hit rock bottom, there was one thing that I wanted more than anything else: to trust myself in any and all situations. And by trust, I'm talking about emotionally trust, because I was somebody that carried around a lot of anger. I carried around a lot of anger throughout my life. So angry. And it wasn't even that I was angry. It was that I had so much emotional trauma from 0 to 10 years old that the anger came out, because in those years I was scared because of the violence, because of the abuse and the shit that I went through, that the anger came out as a protection, right? It was a protection mechanism to protect that little child that was inside of me, the little inner child. And yet, going all in, 100%, not holding back nothing, 100% on their religion, it didn't. And I'm not even talking, I went all in on showing up and doing the church, I would call it the churchianity stuff. But I went even all in more so on my private time, my private life, trying to commune with the creator of all things. The private time, one-on-one, in the darkness and the stillness of the morning. And yet even that did not reprogram my emotional wounds. I had to go on this whole other journey. Right? This whole other journey in order to figure out and decode, demystify what it truly takes for somebody to heal emotional trauma. And the saddest thing is that a lot of people, I'm going to say almost most people, are carrying around trauma that they have hidden inside of themselves. It's in your shadow side. And that's another issue because most people don't want to realize that they're conflicted with themselves. Right? One of the biggest breakthroughs, right? One of the biggest breakthroughs that I had, it came after getting divorced. My self-esteem was kind of at an all-time low, right? And the primary reason was my identity was very much wrapped up in being married. Now that that's gone, who's this guy? Who's going to love this guy? 41 years old, man. Who's going to love me now? And yet I sat there one day and it was when I had just started journaling, and I got a piece of paper out and I had heard something, just started writing some ego strokes because I wanted to build. Yeah, thanks it's not a compliment. Look at the hair. Thank you. And so I wanted to build myself up because here's how I think that you heal your trauma. It takes work. It doesn't just happen naturally. It doesn't just happen from saying a prayer. It doesn't just happen from jumping in water. It doesn't heal emotional wounds that are literally embedded inside of you. That's the crazy thing. But here's one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had in my healing journey, which is really a spiritual awakening, which transcends just, giving my life to Christ. As I started writing down some ego strokes. I'm handsome, I'm creative, I'm talented, I'm artistic, writing down all these ego strokes because I needed to build my self-esteem up. I felt like my life, I went from the top to the bottom. And it was interesting because I started writing down all these ego strokes. And I had like this spontaneous idea that I said, I need to account for the darkness in me, right? And so I wrote a line down the middle of the sheet, and I started writing down all the darkness inside of me, right? All the things that I had done, excuse me, that were like, I'm a liar, I'm a manipulator, I'm a cheater, I'm murderous. You know what I mean? It's not like if I was doing this right now, it was doing a review and saying, what are all the bad things, like the negative energies, the negative qualities of who I am, right? Like, am I a liar? Am I a cheater? Am I envious? And I just started writing down all this list. And it's like, I finished both lists, which was literally the light on the left side and the darkness on the right side. And when I finished, like, exhaustedly just thinking of all the bad things that I've ever been, or what's inside of me and all the good things, guess what happened in that moment? Two things. The lists were actually equal, right? They were equal. But here was one of the greatest breakthroughs early on in my spiritual awakening, was because I saw the fullness of who I was. Yeah, it's like the yin and yang. I was able to fully see myself and accept my fullness of who I am, the light and the dark. And yet there are so many people out there that, and it's in our nature, we only want to be seen with the good light. We only want to be seen for the sweet things, the good things, the creative things, the beautiful things, the nice things. That's why when somebody asks you, how you doing? And you're having a fucking shitty day, do you tell the truth? 9 times out of 10, you lie, right? That's no cap, right? 9 times out of 10, when somebody says, hey, how you doing? I'm good. And it's like, you're lying. Why are you lying, man? You're having a shitty day. Why can't you be honest? And it's because we are so self-conscious that we only want people to see us in our light. That if we are, and what happens is we actually are at conflict and deny ourselves. Darkness doesn't mean evil. It means a lack of information. So it means that it's the side of you that you are avoiding shining light into, because when I wrote out these lists, very exhaustive, very comprehensive, guess what happened to the dark side? The light shined on it, and what I would say was the beast inside of me got to come out into the light. And here's what happened in that moment. There was an integration of light and darkness, so that I could then transmute the dark energy, which is really guilt, shame, fear, right? Sadness, grief, all the things that we're carrying around and hiding, the skeletons in the closet. What happens is when you can fully see yourself, the full extent of who you are and what you're capable of doing on this planet, it's in that moment that you truly accept yourself. So you know yourself. This is self-awareness. This is the essence of self-awareness. And yet we're so afraid that, how could I be a bad person? How could would never tell a lie. I would never, take something from somebody else without asking. It's like, come on, man. Who are you kidding? Every single person on this planet, given the right environment, circumstances, you could do the absolute worst, most heinous things. And especially if you're in denial that you can do it, especially if you're like, no, I'm only good. I'm only I'm only the light. It's like bullshit. You can't even answer the question, how's your day going, with honesty. What makes you think that given an extreme situation that you wouldn't become the most vile, the most just harshest person on planet Earth? We're all capable of this. And it's until we have that revelation within ourselves by shining the light that you're going to have conflict with yourself. It's not about what's going on externally. You're conflicted. That's why it's so easy to be distracted and worry about this team and that politician and this social issue and that social issue and the price of this and the price of that. It's like, what are you going to do about any of that stuff? Please, someone tell me, the people that complain or even in pride celebrate, right, thinking their team won and it's not their team. Again, that's another delusion of the mind. You're latching on to someone else's credibility to puff up what? Your authenticity, the spirit inside of you, the spirit of truth? No, that is puffing up your ego. And you're sending your energy to something that you're not. You only have control over you and your spirit. That's it. What is going on inside of you? That's it. There's nothing else. And everything you see outside of you is a full-length mirror pointing you back to yourself. And yet, when I wrote down the list, the light, the darkness, guess what? I could fully see myself. And I was able to transmute what used to be a very confrontational part of who I was as a man into a force of good. That dark energy is very powerful, and it can be used in incredibly powerful ways. Getting on here right now, I'm using it's the light, but I'm being fueled by this other energy. There's a great example if any of you are into the Bible, right? Jesus goes in the temple one time and he starts flipping over tables, right? He didn't do that in light energy. That's like, motherfuckers, I'm gonna flip tables over. That's dark energy. And yet, we need to give ourselves permission to get centered on ourselves. And as you do that, guess what? Things become more manageable. Life becomes more clear. You start to feel like you have more control over yourself. Because what you start to realize is that, I feel like in the last few weeks, there's been a lot of people complaining, complaining about issues. And there's a lot of crazy shit going on in this world right now. And I'm just kind of like happy about it because I've already come out the other end. Nothing that happens on this planet right now will change how I show up. It's not going to change it. I'm good. I'm there. And that's the beautiful thing. When you actually have had the spiritual awakening, it's like all of these things that are going on that are causing you any level of emotional stress, right? I believe that these things are happening to break people down mentally and emotionally and spiritually, break you down so that guess what? You start to put in the work. For sure, complaining is the lowest frequency, right? Complaining is the lowest frequency. And it's just based in fear, right? If you sit there and you complain about something, it's like, all right, great. You want to complain? What are you going to complain about? Who's in politics right now? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You want to complain about cost of things in the grocery store? What are you going to do about it? You want to complain about homelessness? What are you going to go do something about it? What are you going to go do about it to make a difference? And the truth is you're not. You're not going to do shit about it. Which also is it's another subconscious. This is like trauma response. This is a subconscious way of you avoiding doing the work. What work, you might ask? What work? The healing work, the restoration work, the restorative work for you to get back to your ideal self, your highest self, to align yourself with your high self. Well, that's what matters most, right? What's going on in your own life. That is the thing to be focused on, right? That's the only thing that most people should be consumed with. But we live in a day and age that no, it's so much easier to be consumed by so many other things, distracted. And yet the funny thing about it is the things that you're consumed about on the outside are actually reflections of what's going on the inside. So when you find yourself upset because someone didn't meet your expectations, someone didn't make the athletic plays that you wanted them to do, or someone didn't say the right things in life, whatever it is, right? And you get frustrated about it. It's always about how easily, I appreciate you, Brian. You have to ask yourself, how easily are you emotionally stimulated? Highs or lows? How easy is it for you to get really angry, or how easy is it for you to get super excited? And it's not even about something in your own life. I'm talking about when you're observing the things in this world. The greatest example is, how many of you get upset when the weather isn't what you want it to be? How many of you actually give emotional energy in the negative sense when you wake up and the weather isn't how you want it to be? You got to ask yourself that. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that you literally get upset. You're mad. You're like, your day is ruined because the weather isn't cooperating with you, as if the weather needs to cooperate with you, versus you being in alignment, in harmony with nature. But yet that's how big our egos can get. We'll get upset and we will become emotionally dysregulated when even the weather doesn't cooperate with our expectations of how the weather should be. And yet, the microwave society and mindset, yeah. Everybody wants the quick fix. And I wish, right? I should say this. I wish I could give you the quick fix. I can point you in directions of people that promise the quick fix. And if it works for you, awesome. It didn't work for me, but I'll still point you that direction if you're looking for the quick fix. What I can tell you, though, is that although I can't promise you a quick fix, I can absolutely guarantee you results for healing, growth, and expansion and alignment to become the best version of yourself. How quickly it happens has a lot of factors to it. And the biggest factor is how open you are, how committed you are, how determined you are. Hello, Paul. Because if you're not open, and that was really my approach. When I hit rock bottom, I was willing to try anything. You just got to keep listening, Mikey. I'm sure if you listen to my message enough, the beautiful thing is too, right? If it's something, if you're not just get even past listening, hearing the message, hearing this message is medicine. Let's put it to that, right? What I'm speaking is medicine. And if you're hearing it, that means it's deep. That means it's aligned with you. Because here's the thing. There's nothing new under the sun. All I'm doing is just shining a light in the areas of your life that you already know need your attention and your time and your focus and your commitment, so that you can truly break past your apathy, your sadness, your fear, your guilt, your shame, whatever the fuck it is that's holding you back. That's all I'm doing here. You already know. I know when 15 years ago, before I hit the rock bottom, 13 years ago, 15 years ago, I knew that I needed to change something in my life. But guess what? I'm a stubborn dude. I'm extremely stubborn. I've changed that over the years. I'm not stubborn so much. I can still sometimes be a little stubborn. But at the end of the day, I knew all the way back then that something that I needed to change some things. And even many times I knew what I needed to change. I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't understand this part of it. It's like being in a car, turning it on, and then the transmission is stuck. Like you can't put it in drive for whatever reason. Like it was like, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why is the clutch stuck? Why can't I put this vehicle in drive? What the hell? I would get so down on myself about this. And yet I knew it needed to happen. I knew I needed to change. And not only change, yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. Mikey. I don't know what you're trying to imply there. Right? I'm gonna look the way I'm gonna look. You look the way you're gonna look. I'll size me up against anybody out there. I will size me up any day of the week. Stuck, right? Mississippi country girl, and many other people, right? Most people out there, you're stuck, and it's not even. It's like, man, what do I do? What do I do? And again, it's so sad. I started the conversation talking about you need to realize that here's the thing. Here's what we all have inside of us. You guys want to know? You guys want to get deep today? We'll get deep. Right? There's two sides to who you are. I've talked about this a lot, but I'm fine-tuning this even more because here's the thing. Even though I can't give you a quick fix, there's no magic trick here. I can promise you this. I am doing everything possible in my own healing journey to decode and demystify and come up with the most streamlined approach, because I truly do believe that the power that is, the great spirit, all creation wants people, all of us, humanity, to heal. So it shouldn't be like this, well, you just got to heal for the rest of your life. No, I truly believe I am being helped, assisted by incredible powers that love you unconditionally, love me and every single beating heart, every life form on this planet in the whole entire universe. They want us to be able to heal. And it doesn't need to be this like exhausted forever process. And so every day that I wake up with intention, I feel like I'm tinkering a little more and trying to decode and demystify what it takes for us to truly heal our emotional trauma, right? Do the forgiveness, release people that we're holding on to inside of us energetically. When we're holding on to pain and suffering, it's like, it's literally, okay, here's the spirit, here's your flesh. Like you put them together and it's like that this is the stuckness. This is why you're stuck. This is what stuck is. You are energy and you are flesh. So you are humanity and you are a soul. You are this body, the flesh, and you are a soul. And here's what happens. Here's your spirit, and here's your body. When you have trauma, it's like the energy in the body create a blockage. It's like they meld together. And the way you heal, this is like a traumatic wound. What I'm showing you right now, this right here inside of you is like trauma. And every time that you've had these traumatic wounds, especially the 0 to 10. Thank you for that. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Nikki, 30 Lover is what I'm going to go with. What up, Denver? So when you have these blockages in you, right? This is what's causing the stuck. You have to undo it. You have to open these blockages up. And what I've realized takes three things, right? It takes doing the life review, going in the time machine, figuring out all of the bad things, all of the significant life events and the people associated with these events, and you doing an inventory of all of this stuff. As I see 444 coming up, right? It takes that. That's kind of like step one, right? You go back in the time machine, you start inventorying all of the stuff, facing your fears, because the sad thing is, and it's very challenging, that when you go back in the past, a lot of us, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, and there's people that I work with that it's like they don't remember their childhood. Well, guess why? Guess what the biggest reason for that is because it was so traumatic that literally their survival mechanism was to literally shut down the retention of that period. But here's the thing is that you go back as far as you can and you write the worst thing you can think of, the earliest that you can think of, and you write it down. And then what's crazy, the power of the pen, is that when you write this thing down, you get it out of your head, right? And you write it down, and then I promise you, something else, another memory is going to trigger. You'll be like, oh, wait, I just thought of something else. And you write that down, and you're like, oh, wait, another thing. It's the weirdest thing how when you start downloading things out of your mind because you're trying to figure it all out up there or just trying to block it off and avoid it, when you find the courage to face yourself, it's the saddest thing that we're so afraid. It's so some of these comments are coming too fast for me to be reading all these comments. So a lot of times it's sort of like, this is my monologue. We'll get into trying to read some comments. So if you do have questions, don't feel like you're being ignored. I ignore some people because it's offensive, but if you have a legitimate question, just don't give up. I do see what you're putting out there, but I get on these trains of thoughts because I know I'm channeling this energy, right? It's coming directly through me to you. And yet when you download and do your life review, right? Once you've kind of consolidated 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to whatever age you are now, try to account for everything. And sometimes you got to go to third party people. And that can be painful too. I've had people totally shut down and say, no, I'm not going to talk to my sister. I'm not going to ever talk to so-and-so. And it's like, I'm not wanting you to talk to your enemies, but if there's anybody that you can talk to that has a perspective of that time of your life, of what was going on, it's medicine. It is real medicine. And especially if you feel like, as long as it's like if it's just an estranged relationship where they're not, the person that directly was hurting you or caused you any of this, right? But like a third party, that's what I said by third party. Hopefully you heard that. The third party witness that could at least maybe fill in some of their memories of you, especially 0 to 10, when maybe if you have some blurriness in your memory. So here's the thing. Once you get that done, right, you have a lot more self-awareness. You also can start finding patterns in your life. And when you start to figure out the patterns, be safe out there, Jericho. I was in Bulgaria, huh? Yeah, I was a Navy corpsman with the Marines. So, yeah, be careful. Thank you for serving. I don't know who you're serving with, but be careful. So again, if it's 3 parts to it, you got to do the life review, which is journaling. Then you got to do the forgiveness rituals. And a lot of people, they shut down with that. To be able to forgive people that have hurt you, it's not about you becoming best friends with them or like connected. You don't even have to. The cool thing is that when you forgive people spiritually, this is spiritual forgiveness. This isn't you calling them or them calling you. This is a spiritual thing where you spiritually release somebody because If you're not willing to forgive somebody for anything, it doesn't matter how terrible it was. And I know there's terrible things that happen. But here's the thing. If you can't forgive, right, you will stay stuck. Because what you're doing is when you can't forgive, and I'm talking about spiritual, not physical forgiveness. That doesn't mean you got to call them up, crawl to somebody and beg for their forgiveness when they hurt you. This is not like, no, that's not what we're talking about. Forgiveness in the spiritual sense is you unilaterally in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, releasing somebody and also yourself. Freeing yourself, because when you are not forgiving energetically, you're drinking poison, wishing someone else becomes unalive. That's what happens. And so it takes that piece too. And I think what facilitates this and where I have seen so much of this come together, I mean, I have gone so deep, is with the breath work. The breath work has been the game changer. It has been like that missing puzzle piece to this very complex equation of the spiritual awakening healing journey. And you got to realize this. Everything that I've experienced has been done sober. There's really one plant medicine that I've tried, which is psilocybin. And there's been one like sacred medicine that I tried, which was called combo, which is like a frog thing. But again, these were, this is not like using it all the time. This is like I've done these things a little bit in the combo only 3 times in my life. And yet I did receive some pretty powerful stuff from the combo. This is like the marks. You might be able to see it on my shoulder. There's like these little dots here on my arm. Those are the little combo dots where they burn a little spot on you and they put this stuff on this frog, poison basically, and it makes you purge. Beyond that, you guys, it's been sobriety. It's been journaling, breathing, and real deep like visualization, mindfulness, to be able to truly have a clear understanding of the patterns in my life. And always having a curiosity to say that, hey, if there's a pattern, then I need to get to the root of it. And the root is 0 to 10. It's always 0 to 10. You may be feeling like, if you're somebody that thinks you got codependency issues, your codependency issues isn't because of your most recent breakup. It goes all the way back to the beginning of this life story, and sometimes past life stories where you have blockages from past lives. You're working out karma from past lives. That's a whole nother spiritual thing, but it is also something that you can clear. That's the most beautiful thing, is that every single one of us has the ability to clear it. I'm somebody that when I tried the religious stuff, it put me in a box and it didn't get me to this level. It's when I went out of the box and I started trying more things, right? Flipping over more stones to try and really get to the root of what was going on underneath the surface in me. That's when things started to open up. When I was like totally all in on the religious stuff, I mean, I was just kind of playing a game. That's how it felt. Like I was doing things, but it wasn't fostering real healing inside of me. It was just a practice, right? It was just a practice, right? It didn't create the healing that I truly desired. And I went all in, man. I wanted nothing more than to trust myself in all situations. And that's what has led me to here. This past week, I was telling somebody I had I had two major breakthroughs even to this day. Because even when you like you think you heal something, there's still residual. And there's also going to be it's really weird how you get tested. Like if you're somebody that has like I think a great example is like if you're somebody that has always attracted narcissists, right? And if you're somebody that's like saying, man, my picker is bad, right? I always get, narcissistic type people, controlling people, whatever you want to like. I don't even like to use that word narcissist. It gets overused. You're just somebody that attracts very controlling people, right? You need to heal the part of you that doesn't feel like you have control over your own life, that doesn't feel like you're worthy, safe to truly speak your truth, be your truth, do the things that you truly love, because you've been told a story that you're better off being an extra or the co-star of someone else's life versus being the star of your own. And yet, here's what happens when you can see patterns like this. This is why it's so important. Pattern recognition is so important. Is that if you're willing to put in the work to heal the wounds, that put out the energy, because what you need to realize is that you're attracting in what you are. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. And it's not that you're in your perspective, they always say, if you spot it, you got it. So if you're spotting narcissistic, controlling, insecure, right, behavior in someone else, it is in you. You may not be expressing it in that dynamic, but it is in you. I can guarantee you, it may be how you show up in your workplace, or how you show up as a parent, or how you show up, as an older sibling, or how you show up as a friend. Like, it is fucking there. I promise you this. You have to be willing to see the full length mirror. Just because it doesn't show up in the intimate, because this other person is expressing it more. The reason why it's being expressed to you is because you need to see it in you. And the way that makes you feel is, I guarantee you, in some aspect of your life, you are doing that with other people. And that's why it's showing up for you. It's a full-length mirror. Every relationship, full-length mirror. It's showing you something in you that needs to get cleared. And a lot of people have a hard time with that, because why? Victimization is sexy, right? Complaining about, and destroying someone else's reputation, or, just sitting there saying, look at me, right? This person was so terrible to me, and then putting it all out there to the internet. It's like somehow that makes us feel better about ourselves. And it's like, but it doesn't fix anything. You have to free yourself. And here's the beautiful thing, is that when you can see these patterns, this is something that happened to me this week. This is something that happened to me this week. I had an awakening. I had an experience where I was being ignored. I think we like to call it ghosting now, and we like to say it's very acceptable. It's acceptable. It's acceptable. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, they want to ignore you, they want to ghost you, they want to give you the silent treatment, right? It was bothering me, though. This person was giving me the silent treatment. And I realized that, like, I was grateful for it, super uncomfortable, because here's what it was doing to me. I was realizing that there was still some insecurities in me, that I still had some codependency, but I realized that it was a test. It was a test for me to say, uh-oh, I've used that too. I've been the person that used the silent treatment. And I used it. Here's the root. You want to know the root of the silent treatment? The ghosting? The root of that goes all the way back to when you were a little kid, right? When you didn't feel safe to share your feelings, when you did, if you were in an environment where you could not openly express yourself, when you had a fear of being judged, ridiculed, punished for speaking your truth, because it wasn't a safe emotional environment for you to share yourself, to share how you were feeling about something. And when you did, you would be punished. Sometimes you'd get beat up. I mean, I got beat up sometimes for sharing how I felt, sharing my emotions. So you learn to suppress this stuff. You learn to just shut down and avoid it. Avoid difficult conversations because, there's your self-worth is in that. If your own caregivers didn't give a shit to hear you out and allow that space and a container for you to express yourself, right? Then guess what? You grow up and you find ways to say, you know what? I don't need this. I don't owe this person anything. But it's really a trauma response. And so I had to see in the mirror, I'm like, fuck, I'm feeling all uncomfortable because this person is ignoring me. It is not responsive to me, is ghosting, and it's making it's but where I'm at now in this healed state is I'm like, this is good medicine. I need to realize two things: that this is a test. I need to spiritually seek some forgiveness because I know that there's people that I've done that to recently, avoided difficult conversations. And so I was able to seek forgiveness, see it in myself first. Anything you see in somebody else, if you really want to start having some breakthroughs, anything that bothers you that someone else is doing, anything. This could be a stranger. This could be someone eating in a restaurant. This could be a coworker, a friend. You always need to filter it through the lens of this thing that's irritating me. How is it in me? Where does it show up in my life? If you're not able to see with that self-awareness, you're still you're very judgmental and you're very disconnected from your own experience. You're constantly looking how to criticize and critique other people. When again, it's a mirror. You need to realize everything you see is a mirror. It's a mirror. It's a reflection back to you. But can you be courageous enough and clear enough to realize? And so with the silent treatment thing, the final thing that I was able to do, which is so important, especially if it's in terms of relationships, the kind of people you're attracting. If you know you're doing the work and you know that you're healing yourself, you can now go to the universe, the powers that be. You can go and say, you know what? I've learned this lesson. I see what's going on here. I know how it's shown up with me. I will never do this to somebody. I will never do this. I see that I've done it. I ask for forgiveness to all the people that I've done that kind of behavior towards. I forgive everyone that's done it to me. And I no longer need to learn this lesson. This is literally something you say to yourself, to spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, universe. But you literally say, I no longer need this lesson. I'm ready to move on. I want to attract, and then you fill in the blank. Someone that has the ability to communicate even when it's difficult. And it doesn't matter. Like we try and say, oh, but we're just in talking stage. No, I need somebody. I deserve to have somebody in my life that can communicate at any stage of any kind of relationship, platonic, professional, whatever, because I am capable of doing that. I have told myself, thank you, Lisa, 800, right? And again, that is where you can put your foot down and draw the line and say, it ends here. I don't need this lesson anymore. I have passed this no longer. I can tell you something else that I healed is I've realized that I have another pattern. This is about relationships. And it has to do with my gift, but it also has to do with the law of attraction. So, two things. In my life, I've defined love two very simple ways, right? Love to me thank you for those roses. Love to me has always meant being needed, right? When I feel needed, that's how I've defined loved. And that's what I grew up with. Also, for me, love as a Scorpio also means intimacy, sex. And so I realized that something that I'm absolutely able to help people heal is sexual, emotional, and childhood trauma. So what I realized as a pattern in my life is most of the women that I have attracted into my life come with a lot of sexual abuse. They've been through a lot, like unbelievable stories. And it literally breaks my heart. But I realized that that's a pattern, that I've attracted this type of person. And the reason for it is because they're looking for a savior. I'm looking to be needed, right? And to try and protect, right? Finding my value. And the more that I can help someone with their life, then I feel like they'll need me and they won't leave me because I have abandonment issues. And yet a few weeks ago, I was sitting there in this breathwork exercise, and there was a lady. This is a very powerful story. There was a lady who was in the workshop that was checking into this is a wild story. I don't even know how much I could share of this, but it's so wild. The lady was checking into a motel the day before the workshop started, and she had the most terrible encounter where she checked in at the front desk, and she went into her room, and there was a man in her room, and she freaked the F out. Well, she's sharing with us in this group that she had been assaulted as a teenager, I think. And that ever since that assault had happened, that she had always attracted like predators into her life. And so there before the group, the spiritual leader in the group was able to see that, help her through this pattern, and say, are you ready to close this pattern and to tell the powers that be, whatever power you want to go to, that you don't need this lesson anymore, right? Because if you stay in the victimization, you're telling the universe, you're telling God, you're telling the Great Spirit that if you're a victim, you're literally saying you want more of that. It's just like if you're saying, if you use the E word in terms of money, if you ever use that, you should eliminate that from your language. If you use that word, or you use the word like I can't, guess what? Everything is going to be that. It's the weirdest thing when someone tells me that something that's $5, $10, $12 is the E word, right? It's expensive. It's like, it's $10. What are you talking about? Really? $10 is too much? We live in infinite abundance. And so I'm from northern New Mexico. So here's the thing. In my own life, I like had this awakening with myself, and I said, you know what? I realized this. I have a pattern. I have a pattern of you know, of women that have a lot of broken pieces to them. And the thing is that I've been on this relentless healing journey. And there's something to be said about the law of attraction. A lot of people, like attracts like, but there's another piece to it that most people, you probably have never heard this, is not only do you attract who you are, you will also attract people that need you. They need you for who you are. And that is where I have found a lot of my romantic partners with is women that have needed me for who I am, for having the medicine, for having the light, for being strong, right? For being like a container. But yet, guess what? When they show up here, it's like they're looking for me to just be a protector, and they're not willing to do the work to heal because they feel that I'm the savior, when it's like we need to heal. And yet this is something that I created in my healing just in the past month, is basically saying no more. I see the pattern. I see 111 right there. I said no more. Which 111, again, we're talking about transformation. This whole thing is about transformation. So what I've said is no more. I don't need that lesson anymore. I have healed. I know that I deserve someone that is standing and moving in their divine feminine, that has put in the work to heal, so that when they show up, I'm not their savior, right? I can be the container, but that is different than being their savior. And yet, if there's anything in your life where you can see these patterns and you know that you've done the work to heal it, you can absolutely set the bar to say, I don't need this lesson anymore. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on. What's crazy though is you'll get tested a little. We continue to get tested. You have to be open to the tests. But that's what shows you to have achieved the next level. And yet, how does all of this stuff piece together? Well, it does, and it does very beautifully, because you go on a journey, which some of you already are, doing this self-discovery work, which the self-discovery is the self-review. It's looking in the mirror, it's reflecting on yourself. And then it's saying, once you figure out who you are, it's starting to project and realize who you can become. What is the highest version of yourself? Which then takes me to the next stage of this, which is another revelation that I've been fine-tuning recently, is intuition. Who here feels that they're really in tune with their intuition? I'm somebody that I have violated my intuition most of my life. Right? Most of my life, the intuition, I have violated it. A lot of times it was because two things. I believe I have a gift. It's called claircognizance. And the reason for that is the claircognizance is a knowing. So a lot of times I'll be talking to somebody and I'll share something private with them. Maybe it's in the shadow of who they are. So they don't want to see that. And so even my mom, from the earliest age, I can remember her dimming my light, right? Dimming that light, which made me question myself, question my thinking, question, am I delusional? Like what? I remember 21 years of marriage, same thing. I would be observing something. I would be like, hey, this is happening right now. And then I'd be like, gaslit. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not what's happening. You're the one doing it. And I'm like, what? So a lot of times I've questioned myself. But here's the fine tuning I'm doing right now in terms of intuition. What I've realized is that there's for sure two voices that's going on inside of your head, as we got balloons going off right here. There's two voices. There's your lower self and there's your higher self. Lower self, higher self. What I'm figuring out is the clearest way to figure out the lower self. The lower self is usually a rambler. It's thinking, it's usually in the past. It's usually bringing up ideas that you absolutely have no control over. It's a worrier, right? It's going to fill your mind with worry, with doubts, with just wild ideas, but most of it is rooted in the past. It's stuck in the past. Versus your higher self. Your higher self is your guide. And that guide is not only going to be rooted in the present, but it's going to be guiding you in the future towards the next step for you to take. But when you have the thinking mind, a lot of people call it the monkey mind. It's the lower mind, but it's usually caught up in the past, in things that you probably have little control over. Again, the distractions. Replaying would've, could've, should've from the past, all the regret, all the worry. And yet, it takes you getting quiet enough to actually discern and hear and observe the two voices. And there's something you can do to activate that higher self voice. And it's a breathwork exercise. And so if you were to be outside, I like to do this walking. I like to do this barefoot. If you were to be outside, you could do it inside. You just need it to be really quiet. You could do it right here and right now. If we can get quiet enough, what you can do, if you want to try this exercise, let's try it. Type a 1 right now if you want to try this exercise, which is to try and hear your higher self. Type a 1 if you want to try this exercise, to hear the higher self, which is, it's the next version of you. So I'm going to give you what you do. And then we'll do it and we'll see what comes up. So here's what you do. It's really important that you ask a question out loud. Try and make it a question about you. What I'm realizing is that if you ask for like a question that involves another soul, it gets a little, it's probably, that's not advisable. Your guide, your higher self is here to guide you, and it can't really intervene with other people. So if you're wanting like, oh, is so-and-so going to come back into my life, or is so-and-so going to, do something? No, you want it to be about your life. What's something I need to do this week? Or, you could even ask here would be the best place to start. Why don't you ask your higher self what their name is, right? That would probably be a good place to start. Because if this voice, if this presence is there with you all the time, don't you think you want to know its name? Because then you can really start to form a relationship. If you don't know their name, do you like to just talk to anonymous people? Right? So it's good to hear that. And this is something I did this week. You can also get the name of your lower self as well. But let's focus on the higher self real quick. So here's what you do. Wherever you're at right now, don't do this yet. Just let me explain this, and then we'll you guys can take like a minute to do this and see what comes up. Try and get real quiet. Here's what you do. You need to still your mind. So the way that you still your mind is you look at three things, whether you're outside or inside, wherever you're at. You just identify. First, you ask a question, right? Hello, higher self. What is your name? I would like to know your name, higher self. And then you look at three things. And so right here, I see skull, door, dog bowl, right? You just name three things that you see, and then you do these three breaths. First breath in through the nose, and then you blow out like you're blowing out candles. Again, candles. And the third breath, and go try and go dead quiet and see what comes up. So again, ask a question, higher self, will you tell me your name? And then name three things that you see, right? And do those three breaths. In through the nose, blow out candles, in through the nose, blow out candles, in through the nose, and then make the audible, right? Don't be shy to do that. Do the audible. So let's for those of you that want to try that, see if it works. See if you get a name. And if you do, I want to hear what the name is. Let's give it like a minute. So if you're someone that got something, and you want to share that name, try it. If you're someone that feels like you didn't get something, here's what I recommend. Move your body a little bit, like walk around your room and try it again. Again, just you got to get out of your head and get quiet enough. A lot of us are blocking the voice within that is true. It's usually that still quiet voice. So if you move around a little bit, just pull away from this for a minute. Maybe just go walk down the hall or into a different room. Just kind of move around and try it again. Ask higher self, can you reveal your name to me? I want to hear your voice. And then name three things. Do the breaths in through the nose. Ah. Don't question that. What was the name? Was it like a male name or something? What do you mean? you know, Kayla. Yeah, why I got Joseph. Look, start forming a relationship with that name. And you can always test the spirit, right? You can always test the spirit. You can ask questions like, "Hey, Kayla, do you always tell the truth?" And then do the three things, right? Because here's the thing is even if again, lower self, higher self, the higher self is going to tell you the truth. It's going to give you some really clear guidance. It's not going to leave you anxious. It shouldn't leave you confused. If you're feeling confusion is like, "Whoa, I heard a name and I'm like, where did this name come from?" Don't just play along with that. Allow that to be. See, a lot of times when we start stepping into this level of our internal selves, we still want control. We want the ego. You want to, you got Kayla, but you wanted it to be Mary or something, or you wanted it to be like your grandma's name or your great grandma or an ancestor. It's like the name that I got this week was Rocky. You got Rocky. I got Rocky as my higher self, and it's funny that Ricky is the lower self. And so I can now have a conversation saying, "Ricky, is that you?" And it's like, "No, it's not me." And it's like, "Well, do you always tell the truth?" "No." And it's like, okay, right? And so this is at least an Iraqi and Taos. Nice. Someone else knew Iraqi and Taos. I was over at the Taos Gorge Bridge today. I got this beautiful stone, man. I did some beautiful exchanges today. And I'm not gonna lie, I started introducing myself as Rocky because I want to be my higher self. Like I'm ready to align fully, all in the higher self. The higher self. And yet, I wouldn't at this moment just be neutral about it. Don't judge it. But you can start having conversations with this version of you and you can test it. Especially if it makes you, again, if it confuses you, if it's when you start hearing that voice that's in the past and wanting to solve all of the past problems and wishing things were all different, I can just tell you in general, that's usually the lower self. The higher self is usually going to keep you in the now and moving forward in a positive direction. So if you were to now say, "Hey, Kayla," right, or whoever your higher self was, right, you can just start asking questions that are about like, "Hey, like what's one thing that I need to know about my life right now that I've been avoiding hearing?" And then you do the little three things, do the breath, and just start letting the river flow. Don't judge it right now. Let it flow. A lot of times you can write this stuff down. Just let that river flow. A lot of times we want to like control it because, you know, it's going to probably tell you some things that you know already that you need to do to make some improvements in your life. Because again, if this is your higher self, your higher conscientious talking to you, that means that you can't stay doing what you're doing, thinking what you're thinking right now, right? Even connected with the type of people you're connected with and become this version of yourself. This higher version is your guide, is trying to show you the path forward for you to become the best version of you. Yeah, I can relate to that. So then that's where you can ask about the lower self, right? If you feel like it's there's still blockage there, again, that this is where the breath work comes in, right? To do the breath work and then get into this, it'd be a lot more effective. This was kind of a cold um this was sort of a cold prompt, right? For me to just throw you guys into that, but it happened. And yet, this is how breath work can really facilitate this. This is like part of the breath of life healing circle is in your visualizations, you definitely get messages, inner child, higher self, other people, right? Other spirits, they bring you messages. You need to write this shit down. When you're doing the breath work, usually you want to put your mind on rest for at least the buildup. But then once you start coming down and allowing just all that energy to just radiate, that's when you'll start to get the downloads. That's when you can really tap into your higher self and that intuition, that higher conscience. So if you're feeling like it's a little flat right now, it is because, maybe you're definitely closed off energetically. The breath is what opens you up energetically. And that's why it's so potent. It's such a potent tool in the toolbox. So I appreciate everyone that at least took some time to just start connecting. And I just encourage that if you have a name that came through, make some time. Make some time to start connecting. Go on a walk. That's a great activity to go on a walk. You're getting some exercise, you're spending some time outdoors, and you can just be, again, you want to speak out loud, right? You want to be saying these things out loud. Don't do it mentally because you want to get out of your head. You don't want to be in your thinking mind. So that's why you speak the question out loud. You see the tree, you see the sidewalk, you see the red car, and then you do the breath, and then you just let the river flow, whatever comes through, without judgment. Just let it come through. And it takes practice. It takes practice. Don't expect to be a perfect, clairaudient, gifted person from the beginning. Grand slam like in baseball. Yeah, it's all coming together for sure. It's definitely coming together. I'm definitely figuring out all these little pieces, decoding this mystery to be able to give the medicine. Because I know that the more efficient that I can help guide people towards your own healing. Again, as someone I consider myself a spiritual healer, I don't do the healing. You have the key. All I'm doing is shining a light. That's all I'm doing. I'm just holding containment and shining a light. You have all the power to heal yourself inside of you. And that's the beautiful thing. I just love to be in the presence of this. Yesterday, I went to the hot springs, and this older gal just started sparking up a small conversation with me. And eventually she started talking about like she needed healing in her heart. Oh, Grand Slam. Nice. Yeah, Grand Slam, man. Yeah, there's all kinds. Some people they get some people get you know, like bright star, like your higher self. Don't think it has to be like a human name. It can be bright star, soaring eagle, grand slam. Just start building a connection with that and see where it goes. Yeah, just don't edit, just allow it to be. And that's cool that you got chills. That's interesting. Russell Brand looking rough. People, man. That's a good admission. It's good to know that you got a lot of healing to do. And if you would like to join my Breath of Life Healing Circle online group, you can get registered to do that now. I think there's a link somewhere in here. You can visit. I meant to put it in the description, but resultskillexcuses.com. You can click on the drop down or the link Breath of Life group. There's a lot of cool information on there. We're going to be meeting 3 times a month. It's going to be powerful. That's going to be such a potent group as I see 144. Those are the chosen. That means that if you're here, there's probably a good chance. I always feel that if you're here right now, you absolutely have a calling to serve humanity. There was a lot of time in my life that I felt like I was behind because I had like a big, yeah, it's the Breath of Life group. Go to resultskillexcuses.com and the registration is there under Breath of Life. If you're interested, just check it out. And a lot of time in my life, I had a major upheaval 2008, 2009. I kind of lost everything materialistic. Yeah, resultskillexcuses.com. Results. And yet, I always felt like, man, what a setback because I lost everything. I felt like I had so much momentum in life and then I got wiped out. And right now, I feel like that took me on a whole nother path that I could have really have never dreamt of. And yet here I am, and it's I feel like like I'm ahead of the wave because again, this message is not massively popular yet. Massively popular. We're still talking about things that most people, it's so much easier to be distracted. It's so much easier to get caught up in all the stuff. And so if you're really looking, if you're awake right now and you're becoming more awake and becoming more curious as to healing, right? Putting in the work to really figure yourself out, like you're in a sweet spot. Like keep going. Stay locked in. Like the more you put in, the more you'll get out. It's the number one guarantee. You're guaranteed every minute, every hour, every day that you put in work with your self improvement, your self healing, right? You're to ultimately get to that level of self mastery, which is a spiritual awakening. Like you win. You win. You win. That's how the story ends. You win. And there's no one in your way. The only thing that's going to get in the way is the lower self. So if you figured out the higher self name, it would be good to also figure out the lower self name because the lower self is the critic, is the worrier, is the person that's constantly, is the voice in your head that's just constantly, has you stuck in like the loops, right? The repetitive thinking about things that you're just worried about. They're things that have yet to come, worries about the unknown, stuck in the past, right? Either stuck in the past or so overwhelmed and worried about things that have yet to even happen. That's the lower self. And you need to check that. You need to take it out. Interesting. I'm not even sure what everyone's talking about right there. So I'm glad that that worked for you. I think we should do some visualization. Is anybody up for visualization? Anybody? Anybody want to do a visualization right now? I guess we could do both. Visualization. I'm down to do some visualizing. It's getting a little late, but I think visualization would be good. Am I looking for a wife? I'm not looking for a wife. I'm looking for a divine counterpart. Yeah. I did the wife thing. That lasted 21 years. The next relationship that's is divine counterpart. So if anybody knows where she's hiding, right, I'm ready. At least I think I'm ready. But my higher self keeps telling me that she's still putting in some work. She's not quite ready yet. So I'm going to just keep one foot in front of the other. But if you're ready, if you would like to do the breath work, you could not the breath work. We'll do a little bit of breath work. We're not going to do the full pranayama breath. We'll do just some breath to get in our bodies and a visualization. If you would like to participate in those things, maybe type a 1 in the comments. And if you want to do some breath work with a little visualization. And so as is becoming kind of customary, you can make yourself comfortable, right? If you're just here to hang out, then just hang out. But if you would like to participate, it is helpful for you to type a 1, just so I know that, we have people participating. This is a big reason why I'm so excited to do the Breath of Life Healing Circle online group, because clearly that's going to be people that are showing up, because as if we can truly create a circle, a global circle of people uniting, right, to really do the work, do the reflection, do the visualization, and through breath to release everything, to release all the blockages, to be doing that with intention together in a very sacred setting with a strong containment. It's gonna be so powerful. So we'll wait just another minute, and then we'll go ahead and hopefully not fall asleep for the visualization, but I'm getting tapped out real quick. It's wild how I get on here, and 1 minute it's like, I don't know if I can I'll try and get on there for 30 minutes tonight. And it's like, we're going on 2 hours easy. I guess that's how I know I'm supposed to be doing this, because it comes effortlessly. That's the thing. It really feels effortless. Sometimes I don't feel like I have the energy to do it. But when I get on here, it feels effortless. So thank you for all that love. I appreciate everyone for showing up here. You're showing up here. I'm showing up here. I'm really here for you more than I am here for me. But there is reciprocity. I think that, I'm refreshed by serving others. And I always say the message that I put out there is usually I'm the first person that needs to hear what I have to say, at least so that I'm not a hypocrite. Yeah, grateful to have you here, love. Yeah, everyone that's participated, grateful. So let's just go ahead and just get relaxed. As long as you can hear my voice, just be relaxed. We're going to go on a short journey to connect with some beautiful parts of who you are, get some more messages. It's good to have a journal if you have one, not right now, but just you'll get some messages, and some of these messages may be worth writing about, reflecting on more in depth at a later time. But just allow yourself to be present. We're going to get out of our heads. We're going to get into our bodies real quick. And the way that we'll do that is just we're going to start with some slow breathing through our nose, right? Out through our mouth. So just gently, just connecting with your breath, just the gentle breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And just try and make sure you get all the breath out and then just back in through your nose and out through your mouth. Get all the breath out. Just focus on your breath. That's your only job right now, is to just focus on your breath. Keep breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. We'll do 3 more of those. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose, out through your mouth. These next 3 breaths, we're going to go in through our nose, but we'll hold. And I'll count. So in through your nose and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. And then in through your nose again. Deep breath. And hold again. This time 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Just let it all go. Just let all your thoughts melt away, all your stress, all your worries, all your doubts, your fears. Just let it all go. In through your nose again, nice and deep. And hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Just let it all go. Let any pain, fear, sadness, guilt, shame, just let all that wash away. And you can go ahead and just focus in on your breath. In through your nose, just return to your normal state of breathing, but just put all your focus and attention there in your breath as you breathe in that life force energy and out through your mouth. Just focus in on your breath, and if you haven't yet, let's allow your eyes to rest. As you allow your eyes to rest, let's just do a short body scan, starting with your head, your hair, your face, your eyes, your ears, your cheeks, your jaw, your lips, your tongue, your teeth, your nose, your chin, down into your neck, into your shoulders, and your arms, your elbows, your hands, into your chest. And you're just searching if there's any discomfort. If there is, if you feel any discomforts in any part of your body, just send it love. Just continue scanning down into your abdominal, your stomach, your digestive tract, your groin, your butt, into your hips, your legs, knees, shins, ankles, in your feet, into your toes, just being present with this beautiful gift called your body. Send it some love. Let's send some love to our heart. Send some love to our lungs, to our skin, to our muscles. Let's send some love to our immune system, our cardiovascular system. Just send some love to any other parts of your body that just need your love. And as you're just scanning your body and just having gratitude, I want you to imagine yourself walking along a sidewalk. And there's a road, and there's trees. It's a sunny day. As you're walking, you can feel the sun reaching down on your head and warming your skin in between the trees that you walk through. As you go in and out of shade, walking down this sidewalk, you may start to connect with some of the sights and sounds. Maybe there's cars, maybe people, maybe there's a lawnmower, maybe there's some birds chirping, singing their songs. Just really start to connect with this environment. As you continue walking, you come upon a staircase that leads underground. And as you begin to go down the staircase, you go one step at a time, and you reach the lower level. And it's darkly lit, but you can see yourself around, and you see that there's a long corridor. And at the end of the corridor, there's a light at the end of what seems to be a tunnel. And as you begin to walk down this corridor, you notice that there are some pictures on the wall. As you look at these pictures, they're lit, and you realize that they are from different moments that are significant in your life, memories. And they're on both sides of the wall. And so as you're walking, you start to connect with some of the feelings, some of the thoughts, the experiences that these images are reminding you of. And as you just continue walking, connecting with this underground corridor, as you get closer and closer to the light at the end, you start to see that the light actually leads to an outdoor space. And as you walk up to this doorway that goes from the darkness to the light, you start to picture an environment that is just so lush and beautiful and so inviting. And as you begin to leave this darker corridor and enter into this whole new realm, it feels like you've stepped into a whole nother dimension of existence. And as you do, you can feel the warmth of the sun, and you just feel a sense of peace in this environment. It's so peaceful that even as you look down, you want to connect with the earth beneath you. And so you remove the shoes and the socks that are on your feet, and you begin to really connect and ground into this beautiful sacred space that you have found right here and now. And as you begin to walk upon this very soothing, centering, and grounding soil, you can feel the tranquility in the air. And you hear a sound. And you look over to your left and you see a child playing, laughing, having fun. And you recognize this child. This child is the younger version of you. They have a big smile. You recognize their outfit, something that you loved to wear when you were this age. You recognize what age you are. And you walk over to them and they give you a big hug around your waist. They sink their head into your belly and you hug them back and you just feel that warmth embrace. And they tell you that they have something they want to show you. And they grab you by the hand and they lead you to a new space within this realm that you have found yourself in. And as you're walking, there's a bench. And next to the bench, there's a box, like a chest. And they tell you that there's something very special for you within this chest. And they pick it up and they hand it to you. And they ask you to sit down. And as you sit down on the bench, they sit down next to you. And you open up the chest. What have you found? And your inner child says this is something that's very important for you. And they want you to take it with. So you reach in the chest and you take out the item and you place it in your pocket. And they tell you that they have a message that they would like to share with you. They appreciate you coming to visit them today in this very special place. It's one of their favorite places to be. They begin to share the message with you. Receive your message now from your inner child. And as they finish sharing this message with you, they give you a hug and they say that they're going to go on their way to go continue playing. that they hope to see you again soon, that you can visit them anytime that you wish, and that they really do enjoy your company and your presence, making time to visit with them. They hope that you'll come back to play again. And you put the chest down and get off the bench, and you begin to walk back towards that underground corridor. You can see the dark opening. And as you begin to walk towards there, there's someone standing in the doorway. As you walk closer and closer, you begin to recognize this person that's come to meet you. They smile and you smile back at them, and you embrace with a hug, and it warms your soul. They tell you that they've also come to share a message with you, a message of importance for this moment in your life. Receive the message from this visitor here and now. And as this visitor finishes sharing this message, the two of you embrace, and they begin to lead you back out this corridor. And there's something that you recognize on the walls, that as you walked in, the images were images of the past. But as you're walking out now, you see that the images are of the future, the potential, the hidden dreams and desires within your heart displayed upon the walls. And as you observe yourself at a future time, experiencing fulfillment in many areas that you only thought could be a dream, you start to really connect with the potential that there's still something so great inside of you, ready to be expressed, wanting to be shared and to be shown to the world. As you continue walking down the corridor, you observe a few more of these images of your future. And the visitor leads you to the stairway. They give you a hug. They hope that you will continue down the path, and that they tell you they will be there with you each and every step of the way. That you are not alone. That there are many people rooting for you, cheering for you, and supporting you in ways that you will never know. And as you begin to walk up the steps, you get back to the top where the sidewalk is and the trees. And under the tree is a chair. You walk up to that chair and you sit down. You just take in a moment to really reflect on the messages, the sights, the sounds, and the experience that you have just been through. You're just filled with gratitude, fresh perspective, and new understanding for who you are and what you're capable of. In the next few moments, we'll do a countdown. We will reconnect with the space and the place that we are in, here and now. Start by connecting with your breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can go ahead and open up your eyes. If you need to, you can stretch. You may even want to give yourself a hug, a kiss. Maybe just ground yourself a little bit. Rub your hands together. You can put them over your eyes. You can put them over your heart. Just kind of ground yourself. Just get back into your body. I hope that you enjoyed your visualization tonight. I hope that it brings you new insights, new clarity, and deeper connections with yourself. Yeah, the puppy, she's the guardian. There was something there. I was so grateful that she didn't kind of like go rah, 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 rah. But what's interesting is, this is a very spiritual practice, and dogs have a different frequency than us, obviously. So she's very in tuned. I live my property's in a national forest. It's very remote where I'm at. And so, it's interesting that as we kind of crank up the spiritual aspects, getting into the visualization, her sensitivity goes up. But there's also energies that want to distract and want to kind of take away from that, right? And so I was just grateful that she was sensitive to the energies that were trying to come in and interfere, but she stayed contained. She didn't lose it. Yeah, that's beautiful, Mississippi country girl. I'm so grateful to hear that, that you've had a good time tonight, that you have something to move forward with. I hope that you'll come back and see me again. Again, anybody that's interested in exploring the possibility of joining the Breath of Life, the Results Kill Excuses Breath of Life Healing Circle. We start the first weekend in May. There's a special offer right now for the Founder Circle to discount and some other special gifts. If you want to find more information on that, you can check out the website, resultskillexcuses.com, and click on the Breath of Life link. And I would love to see you there. I know that it's going to be an incredibly powerful group, especially because I know that people that are ready to really get to the next level, to really break through the stuckness and the sadness and everything that's holding you back, really just to clean the slate clear and allow yourself to be set free. Right, now's the time. So I hope that you'll respond and consider joining the group. And beyond that, I just want to thank everybody here. It's grateful to see that people are connecting, that we're creating community here. Yeah, definitely a lot of tears tonight. So that was great. Grandma showed up. That's powerful. Oh, that's so beautiful, Adam. Yeah, it's great to hear about the tears and just, reconnecting. Definitely highly recommend having a journal handy for these, because you're definitely getting messages that you should document, meditate on, reflect on. The breath work brings in that too. So Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope that your um, sleep, your night is peaceful, restful, recharging, and that tomorrow you wake up with a fresh sense of purpose, of life, appreciation, gratitude, right? Start tomorrow morning, hit those positive affirmations, boom. Maybe do some journaling, reflecting on life, reflecting on some of the things that you would love to bring about in your life. Again, everything you can imagine is already your reality. You just have to align yourself energetically with the things that you can see inside of you. It's all about alignment. When will I be back on? Probably tomorrow. I'll probably get on tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably be on tomorrow. I gotta start scheduling it. For me, it's like, I don't know. I like kind of just getting on more intuitively. I get really weird when I schedule stuff. I guess it stresses me out because then I feel like, I don't know. It's like I feel like I have enough self accountability, but when I schedule something, I feel like I'm forcing myself to do something versus like just getting on organically and just knowing that the frequency is going to attract the right people. It seems like the right people have been there, but the business side of me has said you probably need to schedule these out because people do want to participate and be present. And if they knew about it, they would get on here. So there's two sides to it. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I mean, everybody has the same thing. For me, if I only had one, I guess, I mean, that's a question for everybody. Like, how do you live your life right now? Right. For me personally, there's very little that I would change about my life, whether I knew I had 1 week, 1 month, or 1 year to live, because I'm already living in alignment with the best life that I could be living. And yet, a lot of people aren't in alignment. A lot of people are suffering. A lot of people are forced to be somewhere. It's not luck, though. It's alignment. It's alignment. I've been through a lot. It's surrendering and it's believing in myself. And I've taken a lot of risks, and I just continue to heal and make the most out of it and give back. But at the end of the day, it's like, to me, I'm already living a life that it's like, if there's anything I would do more of, it would be like I would probably be putting out more content here. So more messages, more information, because it'll outlive me if I capture it. But a lot of you, for sure, would probably change everything about your life. And that's the transformation. That's where so many people need to hit that threshold and take those leaps of faith. Find the courage and the strength to take the leap of faith, to get to your truth and authentic self. And in doing that, yes, you're going to probably have to walk away from some things and let go of some things and let go of some people and change. I mean, transformation, it's the transformer. It's going from a truck into a robot, right? Total transformation. And you're all capable of it, but it takes courage and belief in your vision, in your dream. And it takes knowing that you have these spirit guides, you have the higher self that wants you to fulfill your greatest purpose. And in doing that, you should have a vision for your life. You should create a digital vision board. And if you do that, then it's like, yeah, you now have a target. If you don't have a vision board that is the fullness with detail of what you truly, truly want out of your life, and not be sitting there in guilt and shame saying, I don't know if I'm worthy of having a mansion or a nice car, or whatever it is. It's like, the material stuff's the material stuff. It's not the essence of it. But at the end of the day, we live in an infinite universe. And so if you healing yourself if you aligning yourself with your greatest purpose, which usually your greatest purpose isn't going to just be to make money. Your greatest purpose is going to be somehow to add value to humanity, to help make this world a better place. And in doing that, abundance will come back to you in many different ways. And so if you can envision it, it's possible. And you winning doesn't mean anybody else has to lose. Unfortunately, a lot of us are in environments that if you were to do your vision board and put nice things on there, top, top end things, luxurious things, and show it to some people, people would freaking laugh at you. And then you would be like, oh, see, you would buy into that, where it's like you kind of, some of this shit you got to probably keep private, because the people around you right now they see you for who you are now and who you've been, and you're coming up with this whole nother vision that's not including these people. It's you with yourself. That is what's so important. It's for you to not be in an echo chamber. It's for you to be abundant and free and expanded in your conscientious, that it's literally just you and source saying, who can I be? What am I supposed to be? And what comes back to you is your truth. It's not filtered through somebody else. When you start filtering through somebody else, forget it. They're gonna rob you of that. And they definitely don't want you to hit it. Because most people are afraid of their own dreams. Right? They say that's the most valuable place on this planet. Does anybody know where the most valuable place is? The most valuable place on this planet. They say it's the cemetery, because that's where most dreams go to be unalived, right? Not be realized. Because so many people end this experience called life without having the courage to take action to building their dreams. And that's what it takes. You're a builder. You're a co-creator. If you have something in you that is big and massive, you have what it takes. Little steps, 1% every single day. That's how we do it around here. Right? So I wish you all the best. Yeah, the dashes, it's what you do with your life. The other thing, though, is where a lot of people get way too in their head is trying to figure out the how. You have a vision, you're like, how can I do that? Right? You don't need to know the how. When you start to believe in something and you start to do the healing work and the breath work and getting these downloads, you're gonna start connecting and tapping into your gifts and your divine creativity. And that alone will start to give you the dots that lead towards this transformation. But it takes some courage, and it takes getting quiet. Being quiet, being still, you cannot spend enough time with yourself, quiet, reflective, trying to truly hear what needs to come through. And then having the courage to start taking some action towards these things. So we'll keep doing this. We're going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep speaking life. I'm going to keep doing the healing work, sharing, inspiring others to do the same. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everyone that showed up tonight. It's been fun. It always is. I hope to see you guys again. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, DM me, or Greg, Greg, at resultskillexcuses.com. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.